Going on? Welcome to another episode. Damn.
Oh man. You almost died over there, huh?
I'm still a little sick, man. Man, that caught me, boy. It just grabbed my throat. Yeah, I'm almost on the other side, though, man. I'm feeling like how you was feeling about 3 weeks ago. 3-4 weeks ago. You was bad, bro.
Yeah, bro. I was hurting, bro. Let me tell you, that weather switched up on me, man. It had me in a bad way, man.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. Welcome to another episode, man. No Stingy Energy. Happy to have y'all here this morning. I think it's gonna be a great one, man. We got 2 special guests that's no strangers. Channel, man.
Bro, you know, I really appreciate conversations like this because it just speaks to the nature of business. It speaks to the nature of consistency, and the value proposition that is always going to be there. It's just, business has cycles.
Yeah.
It has cycles. And we're going to hear about the cycles today, and you're going to learn some stuff today that I don't think many people know about, oh.
Yeah.
I'm
happy you said that. You know, business has cycles. Business also has false news and real news.
Real news.
Because from the outside, a lot of people may see some things, but the people that's in the inside, they happy and proof. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna figure out what's going on today. I know for me, I thought it wasn't doing the best, man.
You know, if from my purview, if I'm being honest, based on the headlines, again, this is the reason why we like here on No Stingy Energy to break down the facts, right? We like to break down the facts because a lot of times the headlines, the stuff you hear about in the headlines, a lot of times it's just false news. It's clickbait.
Yeah,
it's clickbait,
and it's negative because they want you to check it out.
Absolutely. So we're gonna break it down. Everything that we will share today won't be necessarily pretty, but it's gonna be an honest view of the market. We have some absolute experts in the space to come and share their knowledge and wealth. And I can't wait to get to it. Listen, my name is Byron, real estate investor out of Houston, Texas, primarily focused on the wholesale space, do a little bit of creative finance, fix and flip, new construction, new to the build to rent space. Definitely excited about it. I have tons and tons of projects and opportunities that are coming that I'm vetting. And it seems like it's getting better and better. So I'm extremely excited about that. And it's on you, man. It's on you.
Good morning. What's up, people? Neil Parker, real estate investor, entrepreneur out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Investor in real estate 2020, full-time entrepreneur. Investor in real estate 2016, full-time entrepreneur 2020. Do all things real estate, love rentals, love passive income. And that's what I truly focus on the most, but I also do other things in real estate. Owner of Leverage to Wealth, teaching how to leverage where you are currently in your life. Get wealthy in real estate. That's me.
I love it. Love it. Listen, we got some special guests that we're going to have to get up here and introduce. We got my guy, Noble Crawford, in the building. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
What's good, Byron? What's good, O'Neal? Always a pleasure to join you fellas.
And then we got TJ to Johnny in the building. My guy. Airbnb expert.
We got echo. Can y'all hear me all right?
Feedback.
Can y'all hear me all right?
We hear you, but it's a little bit of echo.
Man. Listen, I'm gonna go get my headset here in a second. But yeah, great seeing y'all. Always great joining in. What's going on? My guy Noble's in the building, so I'll see you got my guy. So yeah, we could definitely chop it up about it.
We got some legends in the short term rental space.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. We got some feedback from somebody.
Yes, indeed.
Might be
I think,
TJ.
Yeah, TJ finna go get his headphones.
But Noble, man, since we got you, man, we can get a start introduction, man. That'll be a beautiful thing. Cause I'm sure some people know you, but not everybody may know you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. So my name is Noble Crawford. I'm the co-founder of a hospitality brand based in Texas. I'm an investor, coach, consultant, been in the game, short-term rentals, midterm rentals since 2017. So I know a little bit, and then have since that time graduated more towards getting off platform, off of the OTAs, and doing direct bookings and business like that. So super excited for the combo today.
I love it. And then we dropped the podcast with Noble, man, about 7 months ago. So make sure y'all check that out. That was a beautiful podcast, man. You can see he making some of y'all yearly salaries in 1 month. So I definitely need to check that out. TJ, if you can, man, slight introduction, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me? I hope the sound is a little better. Is it a little better?
You good, nah. You good.
Fantastic. TJ to Johnny, Rentpreneur. I'm out here in H-Town, Houston, Texas. Been in the short rental space since 2017 as well. And yeah, hold on. Is my mic tripping? Uh-oh, here we go. I thought my camp. All right, yeah, been in the game since 2017, and yeah, so we're doing a lot more boutique hotels. We're looking at boutique hotels now. We're of course also making strides to build businesses off platform. We love the platforms. We leverage the platforms, but we also understand that we also have to change the way we look at the platforms as well. So yeah. That's all. That's it.
Yes, indeed. We also did a podcast with TJ. He was actually the first episode ever dropped on the channel, so make sure y'all check it out as well.
Fact.
So both of y'all started in 2017.
Yeah.
I started in 2017 too. Oddly enough.
I was a year before y'all, but we all good.
Yeah. You don't discriminate.
Yeah, so this will be an exciting conversation, man. So I guess just to start it off, what's your thoughts about, when a lot of people say Airbnb going down and short-term rentals going down, it's a bust, because I see a lot of headlines. I see both. I see it's doing great, and I also see stuff is doing horrible. So, what's your thoughts about the combos and people saying, like, that's not the business to get in right now? Let's go with Noble first.
Yes, sir. So I'll say this, it certainly is not the same game as it was back in the day, right? When I jumped in the platform, which I would consider early, for many, you could set up a listing, you could, as soon as you list your property, put some good photos up there, boom, you would get a booking. A lot of times the same day within 24 hours, right? It almost didn't matter what market you were in. Nowadays, it's completely different, right? And so a lot of people are complaining and experience what they consider like saturation, right? The reality is that you have to deliver a dope experience to stay relevant in today's space. And that starts with the property itself, right? So you can't just throw anything vanilla up on the platform and expect it to perform. You have to come with the design, you have to come with the photos, you have to come with the guest experience from inquiry to checkout, right? You have to deliver at every interval in every stage. And if you don't, you won't be relevant enough to to get those 5-star reviews, to stay top of mind, for the algorithm to kick in and promote your listing and all of those different things, right? So it certainly has transitioned to a space, in my opinion, where the cream rises to the top, and those operators that are operating at another level are going to reap the benefits of that. And so people that are getting in the space now, there's still a lot to take advantage of even today, but you have to be at a whole nother level. You have to elevate your game. That's my opinion.
What's your take on that, TJ?
I think it's a fair opinion.
I think you're muted.
I am muted, my bad. Oh shoot. Now Noble hit the nail on the head. What he was alluding to was the fact that times have changed. And with time changes means expectations have also changed. When I got into this game in 2017 as well, shit, you could have picked up the couch off the street and made money on Airbnb. I mean, it was that easy because Airbnb was so new. It was still such the thing to do at the time, and it hadn't even taken the market placement that it has now. I mean, heck, at that time, Airbnb wasn't even a public traded business at the time when we got started. So now what we're seeing now is that since expectations have changed, and you even saw last year Airbnb went viral because there was news about houses and even mansions sitting vacant. There was another viral situation about Airbnb in 2022 about some similar, but at the same time, Airbnb poised their actual best year last year. They did 12% better last year than they did in 2022, but yet still Airbnb is still slowing down and houses sitting on the market. And so those two kind of contradict each other, right? And so what you're seeing and what's actually happening is that, for one, it's a little bit misleading. What they're talking about is when they put out news like that, they're talking about RevPAR, revenue per available room. They're not necessarily talking because what happens is even though Airbnb has increased revenue year over year, but when you have an increase, if a 12% increase in Airbnb is combated by a 30-40% increase in hosts and people entering the game, then it's just that's what's more so happening. The saturation is going to happen. You're going to see all that happening. And so between 2020 and 2022, the number of listings in the Airbnb platform increased by 60%. That's a lot more listings. People just coming on the platform. And the truth is, unfortunately, most of them suck. They're not necessarily good hosts. And that's why I'm saying there's a lot of hosts on the platform, but we are short of good hosts. And why I say that is because the bigger tragedy in Airbnb is not even it slowing down. The bigger tragedy is not slowing down in this market and seeing houses sitting vacant. The biggest tragedy to me and what I'm seeing is the fact that people leave Airbnb and we lose them to hotels because of the inconsistency with Airbnb. And I say this, and I've been preaching this for the last year. Hotels have us beat on one thing, the consistency. If I book a Hilton or a Holiday Inn or a Hampton Inn in Houston, it's the same Hilton, Holiday Inn, or Hampton Inn in Phoenix, Arizona, in Dallas, in Milwaukee. Why? Because they have a system, they have standards, and they are consistent across the board. So most people would rather a 7 out of 10 experience consistently than a 8 out of 10 with this host, 2 out of 10 with this host, 5 out of 10 with this host. And so when they have these kind of inconsistent bad experiences mixed in, then they say, you know what? I'm going to stay at a hotel. And most likely when we lose a guest to a hotel, we're not getting them back on the Airbnb. To me, this is the biggest tragedy facing the short-term rental industry right now, is the fact that is the hosts that are not competent enough. And just like Noble said, in order for you to be successful in this business right now, you need to understand that it's beyond just providing a stay. Matter of fact, what was working very, very well, you get your one bedroom apartment. Matter of fact, go to Ross, Target. I mean, soup it up with the nice stuff. I mean, Marshalls, Ross, Home Goods, nice stuff, and you will still find that your listings probably struggling to still stay booked. Why? Because you're just providing a stay. You're not even thinking about who exactly you are serving. You're not even thinking about what kind of amenities. You can literally right now, you can go online. You can do it manually, or you can use a site like RankBreeze right now and go online and see what are the top performing listings in your area right now. Who's killing it? Who's in the top 20 percentile? And see what they have and see what you don't have. All right, they're killing it because they're doing this. Look what the reviews have to say. Dang, people got to say this about this. I lack this. I'm not doing this. It could literally be that simple, but it's not easy. That's the thing. It's simple, but yet not easy at the same time. And that's why most hosts struggle in this game right now. And some are getting all the bookings while the bottom 50 is struggling for scraps.
So how do we explain this?
I got a quick question, B. Quick
Yeah.
Because they mentioned it a few times. So what makes a good host and a horrible host? Because it sounds like, 20% of the host is really making all the money. So what is the separation between the two? Because a lot of people, I'm sure, feel like they're a great host.
Yeah.
The data shows.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? And when I say a great host, too, and you said that right, too, a lot of people believe that they're great hosts. And it's not that they're not. They're good hosts. They're actually great hosts. It's just that they're just focused on the wrong things, right? You could be great focusing on the wrong things, and that could still not serve your business the way it should serve your business. Like providing a great stay, yes, they need somewhere to lay their heads. But man, What will they experience while they're there? What exactly
That's
will they experience?
everything.
I just did
The experience.
that's every. So I was in Nashville, Tennessee, because we spoke at Noble and I both spoke at the STR Wealth Conference in Nashville. While I was in Nashville, I kicked it with my guy Abram. I don't know if y'all know Abram, the developer out there in
Yeah,
Nashville, killing it out there.
from
And so
Louisiana.
he just developed from Louisiana. Yeah, Abram from Louisiana. He just developed his first. He did a build to rent situation, but it's a build to rent to STR. It's a build to STR
Wow.
situation. Two very nice properties,
Big
two
one.
duplexes, each big ones, 3-2. Each unit is like 2,200 square feet. Nice property. One is actually a 3-bedroom. The other one's a 4-bedroom even. And we toured it, we toured everything, and he was asking me like, what kind of amenities, man? What would make this thing? You know what I'm saying? And so we were looking at what other, matter of fact, because in his community there were other listings literally directly across from him, like right across. Let's see what they got going on. Right? We're looking at everything. All right, how can we blow this thing out the water? How can we actually perform? And he said, man, and we're looking at, and we're at one of his top balconies. It has a nice view of the downtown area. He said, man, so I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing this. He said, what would you do? I said, put a jacuzzi up here. Put a jacuzzi
You're
up here
Ukraine now.
with these views. See, here's the thing. Yeah, it's a bigger investment. And we actually did the math. So we did the math and we looked at it based on what people book, because people will pay more for pools and jacuzzis and amenities that they want that are actually searchable when they can say, hey, who has this? Who has this? And people are willing to pay more for that. And so we were looking at everything, and he will probably make that money back from a jacuzzi in about 8 months, 6 to 8 months, just an additional revenue, right? And so, but now he's standing out. Now he's actually setting himself apart. Now he's actually able to get reviews that most people don't have, right? So things like there was in another room, he's like, man, this is a dope game area. This is space. Most people, I get it. Pool table is great. Actually, still do a pool table. Pool table is amazing. I'm like, bro, do a freaking karaoke room in here. Make this a karaoke room. Listen to me. You got to think about the experience. It's about the experience, not just the stay. That's what stands people apart.
She thought about
I want
that.
to
Noble.
highlight. I want to highlight something real quick. I got to highlight this real quick because it speaks to the same thing. So, according to Entrepreneur, Airbnb has most profitable quarter ever, even though hosts are reportedly struggling to fill rents, to fill their rentals. I know that TJ just talked about this a little bit, but I want to know your take on this as well, Noble. You know, do you think it's all the same thing? I mean, because it seems like Airbnb as a company is winning big time, but its hosts, many of its hosts are just struggling to even get bookings. What's your take on that? How would you explain this?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, the supply is higher than the demand, right? And so the supply of listings is higher than the demand. And even though demand is expected to increase this year by over 10%, you have a lot of cookie cutter listings. Okay. And to TJ's point that he just made, you like if you're just another listing in a platform, you're just another cookie cutter listing, then you're not going to stand out. You're not going to be, like I was saying earlier, you're not going to be relevant. And so it really gets down to those it's almost like that 80-20 rule, right? Like 20% of the operators are making 80% of the revenue, right? And so it's those operators that are doing things at another level, like I said, that are getting that income and that are helping to, you know, keep Airbnb at the top of the game, right? And so I think you got to do a couple things. One, I think TJ makes some excellent points. Like, you definitely need to stand out. Amenities is everything nowadays, right? Because it just delivers on that customer experience. And to his point, like, you know, we have properties that are still on the platforms that are near the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And just because they're in that location, which is a great location, and they get booked, but that doesn't mean it's automatic, right? So we offer some additional amenities, some in the form of upsells, right, that help put revenue in our pocket but deliver on the guest experience. So we offer tailgate packages, right, where we'll bring on, so these properties are in walking distance to Cowboy Stadium and Texas Rangers ballpark. So we offer tailgate packages. They're themed units. There's also as a duplex. One side is a Dallas Cowboys theme unit, the other one is a Texas Rangers theme unit, right? So we offer these tailgate packages that come with the tent, with the cooler, with the ice, with the whole nine, the red cups, right? So people can turn up and stuff. So we offer, we do a PlayStation upsells, so PS5 upsells, right? Because people still traveling with the younger kids, and the kids want a game. Everybody's still connected, right? So we'll offer those PS5 upsells. Oh, absolutely, right? So we're adding to the value of the experience, still generating additional revenue on top of those, just that nightly booking rate. And that helps distinguish us and set us apart on top of the uniqueness of the property. So I think it's all of those things kind of combined that contribute to that.
Man, just on the topic of upsells, I think that's amazing. That PS5 upsell just had my brain just going. I was like, hey, wait a minute. Because and that's because I don't know, I don't have a PS5. I haven't played video games since college, but when you have a console, you can sign into your own account. I'm assuming, right? You don't have to use your own console like it's back in the day for your own.
Yeah,
you can bring your own game. Yeah, you can bring your own games, and the game's online too, right? So you can log in and have your own games in your system. Oh my God, that's so beastie. Okay, so because what we do, something that we're doing, this is one of the reasons why I love the boutique hotel game and the hotel game in general. Because think about when you go stay at a hotel. When you check in, the hotel has to get your information, your card information for what? Incidentals. For incidentals, for any upcharges as well. So something that we're doing in our boutique hotels, we're having a high-end waters, and we have a little logo with an upcharge. We're selling big. We're selling Fiji waters for $7 a bottle, right?
Damn,
and so they can just scratch. We got. so now it's the big bottles, but see, we have filtered water coming out there. We have filtered water coming out the refrigerator for them, right? But if they want the bottled water, then they
don't want that
extra, or they can go buy. There's a gas station down the street they can always go buy, but the convenience, right? And so we're also about to now, and then also like certain snacks. So we're looking to do some snacks that are even branded. We're going to brand some of our logos on the snacks, more high quality stuff that we can charge high end stuff for. Another thing we're looking to do now, we haven't done this yet, but alcohol is something that we're looking into, is providing, because it's almost like, how people provide wine. They provide wine inside the unit, but now we're actually looking to provide some alcohol, because especially some of the ones that are kind of hard to get in the city, and just charge a premium for it. And so that's something that we're looking to do. We're actually, I'm going to talk to our insurance company just to make sure to see if there's anything that we need to make sure we provide that. But nonetheless, just on the topic of upcharges, I think that's great. But now PlayStation upcharge, I like it. I might actually.
How much you charge for that PS5, Noble? You do it by the night, by the day, by the hour? How that work?
Yeah, it's just an add-on to the listing, so it's however long the stay is.
Yeah, however long the stay is.
Yeah, it's an extra add-on, so it's $15 a day based on the number of days of the stay. So it's an easy upsell. Easy.
You didn't pay that game off a long time ago.
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
So I got a question for both y'all fellas, man. Y'all keep mentioning what separates the difference between the two, a good host and a bad host. And y'all talk about amenities. So what is the minimum level of amenities needed to have a positive profit Airbnb? Because they got some people, as long as they got a toaster, an ironing board, some decent utensils, on a decent table, they good. What's some gotta have these amenities to make it pop? What would y'all say would be on that list?
Yeah. And even sometimes when I give my trainings, I always talk about like the must-haves that you just have to have. These are all your basic stuff, which, the basics is that's just the bare minimum. And there was a time, what we're alluding to, there was a time where the basics would get you crazy profit, right? But now that's just the bare minimum. And you have to add more value to these listings to get the profit. All your kitchen stuff, right? All your kitchen stuff. And something that a lot of people miss on is the kitchen stuff, because they feel like, a lot of hosts feel like, it's just a kitchen. We'll just get. And they just try to get the cheapest bake set, they get the cheapest pot and pan set, cheapest utensil set they can buy, when actually your kitchen utensils and the things used in the kitchen should be pretty quality. I'm not saying break the bank, but they should be quality, because understand, one of the things that sets a short-term rental apart from a hotel is the fact that it has a full kitchen. And so people that book these short-term rentals, most likely they probably intend on using it. So don't skimp out on your kitchen utensils. So have high quality stuff, because people, when they use it, they feel it. They realize and man, they didn't. Okay, this is actually quality. Like all this stuff is psychology. It speaks into the kind of review that they're going to give you. But of course, all your base stuff, your one of the things that's important is your sleep mix. I call it the sleep mix, which is how many people are sleeping relative to the size, relative to the number of bedrooms and things like that. Of course, my rule of thumb is no more than 6 people to 1 bathroom, which honestly it needs to be 4, but I'll say you could push it to 6 at the maximum, no more than 6 to 1 bathroom. But I mean, of course, 3 sets of linens, which is the stuff that really adds up. Furnishing a unit, to me, as we furnish more, we realize that the furniture is not that bad. It's a lot of your linens that adds up a lot, towels and stuff. So, but yeah, all those basic stuff are all needed, man. And once you have that, then you actually have to ask yourself, all right, who am I serving? Right? Who am I serving? What else do I need to have for the people that will be coming to stay here? And you play the game from there. Like if we're all of our units by the medical center all have TVs in every single room, because we know the people that we're going to serve, right? Do you have to have a TV in every room? No, you don't. But it'd be good to have it because of the people that you serve. So examples like that. But yeah, you got to keep the main thing, and then add to it based on who you're serving, for sure.
Not gonna lie, I've been in quite a few Airbnbs and they don't be having TV. That's
they be
a little weird.
Oh, yeah.
I don't be watching TV, but
Oh,
it's a
they be-
little weird situation to be in a room with no TV. But no, but what would you add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Everything TJ said. I think also, taking into consideration your client avatar, right? So, you may find it useful to provide blackout curtains, right? You may find it useful to provide, a crib or a pack and play, right? For the infants. Don't skimp on the quality of some of your consumables, like toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
Just something that simple, like, put quality stuff in your linens and your towels, like TJ alluded to. Make sure that stuff is quality. People don't want to experience, inexpensive linens and towels and things like that. We do multiple pillows and pillow types, right? So we want to deliver on, like what TJ was referring to, that kind of that hotel experience, right? So your feather pillow and your other types of pillows and stuff. And so putting multiple types of pillows in, soaps, if you're providing hand soaps or body wash or things like that, like don't skimp on that stuff, keep it quality. And people recognize that, right? And so then it's so much easier to then turn around and get repeat guests when you provide that level of experience.
I got a question, just to kind of shift the energy a tad. Do we believe at this point that Airbnb is maybe moving into a space to where they are not one certain host? I mean, if you just look at the profits, I'm just saying, we look at the profits, we look at the fact that it is more operators than demand requires. Do you think we are entering a space where Airbnb is kind of like, you know what? We just don't want everybody. Everybody's booking is not worth having on the platform.
Excellent question. Let me tap in real quick. So I think a few things. I think you can see when Airbnb starts to make a pivot, and sometimes, quite frankly, they'll even announce it, right? So over the past year and a half or so, you've really seen them double down on unique stays. Okay, so you've seen them double down on unique stays where they really want to deliver on the experience side for that guest. And so the more unique your stay is, the more they'll push it, the more that they'll give it preferential treatment, if you will. And so that's why you see, some of the most unique and crazy homes, tree houses, people doing cool things with mini home communities and stuff like that. And so I think that's very much intentional. They put that out there. Hey, we want to focus on this. And then I think you fall back and you get into some of those more traditional listings, traditional vacation rentals, and then more traditional urban, multifamily 1 or 2 bedroom type stuff. So I think I think you just have to kind of watch and see what they're saying. Hey, this is what we want to see more of. And if you can provide that, that I think you're in a good spot. That's my 2 cents.
What's your take on that, TJ? You think Airbnb would rather purge their underperforming hosts at this point?
Man, I know it brings right a great point. It's hard to say. Because I do know that Airbnb has one main job, especially now that they're a public company, which is to satisfy their shareholders and to make as much money with them as possible. A lot of hosts which is why you'll hear a lot of complaints that more so comes from hosts, because Airbnb unfortunately prioritizes the guest experience more because they want the guests to come back and to book more. So I don't know. I don't necessarily see Airbnb kind of ostracizing certain hosts, maybe because they kind of have a way that they do that already by just if you have an underperforming listing, they'll just kind of suspend you. They'll just cut you off. If you suspended, I don't know if you suspended after so many times that they'll cut you off your listing, but they'll suspend you sometimes indefinitely, right? And so to me, I see them trying to make as much money as possible. I think I probably see them having more. I probably see them having more kind of strict. I'm trying to find the word, guidelines or so, in terms of how they prioritize listings before they just say you're not qualified to list. You're not qualified because you're going to be underperforming. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily see that happening, because if they're trying to make as much amount of money as possible, they're probably going to want to have as many listings out as possible as well.
I like that. I got something here, man. This is a guy that is highly respected in the industry. TJ met this guy about 2 years ago. I want to hear y'all thoughts on it, man. What's y'all thoughts about it? Let me see. Can we switch that real quick? I want to pull it up because this is from a guy that a lot of people value his advice. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see what y'all thoughts about this headline right here. This came out in September. TJ is riding the back of the car with him about 2 years ago. This guy changed up a lot of people's mindset that's watching this content right here. So, a lot of people could take this and be like, oh.
I would like to know more of the context of why, the statement. I'd love to read that to see why,
let me read
what I'm saying, in terms of what does he mean?
So this is what it says. Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki is worried about a downturn in the short-term rental market to set a stage for real estate crash. The market grew in warning turbulence ahead for the real estate market sector on Twitter. Airbnb, the lead real estate market crash. If you want a new home, your happy days are around the corner. Some rental properties, the best time to get rich is in a crash, Kiyosaki said. Airbnb, the online rental platform, recently saw a number of short-term rental units plunge by 70% in New York City after the new law was passed that required Airbnb owners to register with the city if they plan to rent their homes out in less than 30 days. So I'm guessing, all the things that's been happening probably the last year and a half. These laws, because people didn't. At some points, people was overbuying houses just to put them on Airbnb. People was getting apartments.
They'll overpay for it. We
talk about that now.
So there's two things to keep in mind here, like what you just said, because what would even cause anything like this to happen in the first place was when people overpay for their properties, because they overpay for it and they look at, they underwrite it as like to see, all right, I can get 20% return on Airbnb, but your returns are negative as a traditional rental. So as a regular rental, so you overpay, and so now when slowing down happens, or even God forbid shutdown ordinances get involved now to where you can't operate the way you want to, or you should be able to. Now you're really screwed, right? And so What he's alluding to is just that. So he's alluding to, for example, what's happening in Dallas, what's about to come down in New Orleans, what's already we're seeing is happening in New York, where straight ban, complete shutdown in the short-term rental space. And by the way, one of the reasons why when they're teetering, when trying to figure out, okay, there's meetings going on. People are meeting with council, trying to figure out what should we do, how can we regulate it. Maybe they put some permitting things out there. Maybe they're trying to figure things out. And all of a sudden, it's a shutdown. They've decided now it's a shutdown. People don't realize a lot of the times when they decide that it's a full shutdown, it's because they literally don't have these cities actually not only need the manpower, but the budget to regulate short-term rentals. And most cities don't want to create a whole separate millions of dollars a year just to regulate it. Because think about it, when you regulate it, say, okay, you can't do this, you got to have this type of property. How do you enforce it? How do you enforce it without actually people enforcing? You got to hire employees to enforce these laws. And so a lot of cities would just rather shut it all down than just hire people and get rid of the headache altogether. You know what I'm saying? So, But that's just a side note. But back to the main thing he's talking about. He's alluding to the fact that, think about, for example, Dallas, for example. There's laws now in Dallas, almost damn near a full ban. You can still operate. There are ways you can operate, but it's really, really tough now. And it's not even fully enforced yet, right? But what's going to happen with a lot of these properties when they can't operate anymore? They're going to put them on the market. So it's going to it's going to be tough to sell. It's going to be, especially with interest rates. Imagine with interest rates the way they are right now, all these properties flood the market because they're underperforming on Airbnb. That's the kind of crash that he's talking about. That's what he's talking about.
So real quick, Noble, I know you in Dallas.
Yeah, you in Dallas.
So what is that looking like for your business?
And the people that you know that's in the business.
I still got students in Dallas too. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So he hit it on the head. Like, so we're going through the exact same thing right now. City stepped in and said, if you're operating an STR in a residentially zoned area, it's a wrap, right? And so we saw a lot of people just shutter their listings. They exited prematurely, in my opinion, but they exited. An STR group that was formed here in Dallas stepped up, got legal counsel, went back, sued the city, and they put it on hold for the time being. Now, the ban is likely some form of that is still going to be enacted likely this year. But TJ made a good point, though, in terms of being able to, to actually enforce that. That's a whole nother thing. Now, with that said, we didn't get impacted by that, right? But here's why. Primarily because we're not operating as a short-term rental. Right. So what's a short-term rental by definition? It's typically in most jurisdictions nationwide, 30 days or less. That's your transient guests. That's your guests coming in 2, 3, 4, 5 nights a week or whatever. Right. And that's what they're saying we're not going to allow in these residential areas. We're doing stays of 28, 30 days or more. OK, so it falls outside of that definition of short-term rental. Thereby, we don't get impacted by that.
Exactly why my students are still able to operate in Dallas as well.
So I got a question with that. So, they stay in 30 days, past 30 days. Are y'all still able to post on the Airbnb platform? Because I know once they say, look, you can't do it no more, they got people, the cities be hiring at least one person just to go on Airbnb.
and troll.
And look and troll. That's it. And if you got a post, they calling you up and say, hey, what's going on here? So are y'all still listing on Airbnb or are you using other platforms?
Excellent question. So you can. So here's the thing. The ordinance is very specific. The ordinance is what you need to go by, right? So everything's in the ordinance. So make sure you read it. Okay. But it, like for Dallas, for example, it definitely says for stays of 30 days or less, right? So if Airbnb, you can list your property for a 30-day or plus minimum. Okay. So you can still list on the platform where it's visible and open to the public to see. But if it's for less than 30 days, then that's where you have a problem, right? And you can still capture those bookings that are 30-day plus bookings for those extended stays.
Got you. Makes sense. So do y'all see a lot of people booking for 30-day plus, or y'all see more people looking for the 2, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or is a mixture of both?
Well, it's always a mixture, but you will be surprised at the amount of people that book in 30-day or more intervals, and sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 months. It's there.
That's the bag. So they ask, what type of customers stay for 30 days? Is it regular people, work people, vacation people?
A lot.
Yeah, I'll let TJ tap in on that one, and I'll
I mean, shoot. I mean, we're talking hospitals. Let's just talk hospitals, and not just travel nurses, doctors, patients that stay for 30 plus days, schools, not just the students, but the graduate students, the professors, as well as parents. We actually had a family members that would come stay for weeks at a time, because they're right by the campus for the kids and whatnot. So you have the business side, you have the personal side, insurance clients, right? These are people that may be displaced from their home for whatever reason. Maybe the house caught on fire, it caught a flood, and the insurance is involved now, and the insurance is paying for them to stay somewhere temporary while they get the house fixed. So, I mean, these are all. The market has to make sense, but which market doesn't need midterm rentals when you think about it, right? Most markets, it makes sense for it. So you can literally run a midterm rental play. Relocation, right? People are waiting for their houses to be finished built. People are waiting for houses to be found or close on their house, and they need to stay for 30 days because closing is going to take 45 days, right? So relocation's a big market for midterm rentals as well. So a lot of who's, as I like to put it, or i.e. guest avatars, the people that will stay for 30 plus days for sure. Oh, we ain't even talking about the shoot. We ain't even talking about the airline, the flight plate. That's no. You know what? Wait, move past that. We're gonna pull past that one.
We have to get into it for sure. How does one get in the insurance market? Because I think that's pretty dope. Insurance typically pays more. In when things happen to people's houses, they be out of that joint for a minute.
Yeah.
Insurance take a while. Contractors take a while. They may need 2-3 contracts to finish a job.
Yeah.
So when it comes to those insurance jobs, do they pay up front, or they pay 30-day net pay? How does that work? Because I know you can make a bag with the insurance.
Yeah, you can definitely make a bag with the insurance. It can. There is some place you can be paid up front for the 2 months or the 3 months, or you can be paid monthly. One thing I will tell you, if you want to serve insurance people, they like bigger properties, because you can imagine most of their insurance clients are families, so they like properties with more
bedroom plus.
Yeah, more than one bedroom, right? More than one bedroom. I'd say 2 bedroom at the minimum. Not that 1 bedroom won't get rented as an insurance play. They would. It just most of them prefer bigger properties. Also, if you don't allow pets, you likely will be at the bottom of the barrel in choice when it comes to the insurance play. Yeah. Think about it again. Most families, a lot of families have pets. They have a dog, they got a cat, they got some type of pet that is part of the family. And trust me, while their house is getting fixed, they're not leaving that dog or that pet, and the pet's coming with them. So if you don't even allow pets, then you're not even likely going to be on their radar for the insurance.
Now I got a question with these long-term stays. So, we all done seen TikToks, Instagrams, people that stayed in the house 6 weeks, 2 months, and they ain't leaving.
Squatters.
It's their house now. So,
oh man,
are y'all nervous about that? Y'all have something to fix that situation, because I know in the back of your mind, that's always something that comes. Like, what happens if I can't get this person out?
And what's interesting is the squatting issue is becoming an even bigger issue among the short seller industry.
They got movies about it. I seen a movie.
Yeah, it's a whole. I follow about two squatters pages on social media that just literally all their content is
living for free.
How to squat.
There's one on TikTok about how to squat professionionally, right?
Whoa.
There are other pages teaching how to help avoid people, like how to get them out, like how to protect your.
We gotta talk about it.
There's strictly for that stuff. Like, so people have gone through, more conventional routes. Some people went through very unconventional routes to handle squatters. Some are legal, some are not. And sometimes some landlords will get gangster with it. All right, y'all want to do this and try to finesse. All right, we'll get gangster with you. You go to court and try to take us to court. Squatter, You go. I'm gonna take the door off. I'm gonna shut the water. I'm gonna shut. You try to take
Now
it.
you
You know
could
what I'm saying?
sue
So
me.
now you can come try to sue. So I mean, I don't recommend it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying do that. I don't necessarily recommend it, but there are ways to help mitigate the issue. I honestly don't think there's a perfect way. I threw out some suggestions online about how to handle squatters. It went super viral. It helped. People have reached out to me and said, "Bro, I did that, and it actually worked. It helped." Some people reached out and say, "Man, I tried that. Man, they said that. It may give me an issue with trying that and doing that, whatever the case may be." So it could be relative. It really could be. I was just with Nashville, my boy Sean. Rocket G's, one of the OGs in the game, and we were talking about squatters, and he was like, "Man, I go in there." He said, "Look, when people want to squat on my properties, that furniture that they sit on, that's still my property. They didn't bring that furniture in there because it's an STR, right? That's my stuff. I just go in there and take all my stuff out, get my furniture. I just take all my stuff out, then they're bleeding, right? So it just depends on it. But I'll tell you what we do, right, to help combat it. There's a couple things you can do. Understand, Noble just hit on this earlier about stays that are actually considered short-term stays. 29 days or less is 29 days out of the month or less is actually what's considered a short-term stay. Now, in order for them to squat legally, they have to have proved that they have squatters' rights, and you can't prove you have squatters' right under 29 days. It has to be above that, right? So a lot of times, if somebody just wants to come in your property, and you're able to catch them day two, then you likely have a way better chance of getting them out through trespassing, right? You can call the police, say, "Hey, they're trespassing. There's no freaking lease. Like, there's no lease." And even if they want to provide some type of fake lease or something like that, it's under 29 days. So technically, they're trespassing still. So, but nonetheless, if you let somebody, if they go in there and they send some type of mail there, oh my God forbid they're able to get the power on in there. Oh my God, the headache to get them out.
Big headache.
My God. So that's how these squatters are playing the game, and they're playing this thing like. And the thing is the easier they can sneak in without you knowing, the better it is for them, because the longer they can stay there, right, and give them time to send mail there, give them time to freaking turn utilities on, give them time to, you know what I'm saying? So the earlier you can catch them, the better, right? And you definitely want to go past 30 days. It's annoying, bro.
Hey, no, but have you ever dealt with a squatter yet?
Attempted squatter. So here's the thing. DJ made some good points. I'm reading these comments. Y'all are cracking me up. So the first, I'm not an attorney, right? So this is not legal advice. But with that said, know your laws for your state.
Know your laws for your states, exactly. Oh, by the way, no, I don't care if it's red state or blue state. It's hard. Red or blue.
Yeah.
Know the laws for your
trash
state,
on spotters.
Yeah.
And we ran as heck
know the laws
over
for your state. What gives somebody tenancy, right? So know that. So then secondly, like we have we first of all, we vet our guests like extensively, like people don't even realize. So we vet our guests. So we have them sign an agreement, but that agreement is on a rolling 28-day interval. People don't even realize how we do that. So it auto renews every 28 days, right? It's not even on 30 days because we're here in Texas and we understand when tenancy kicks in or when it could kick in, right? And so every 28 days it auto renews that. Here's the thing: we don't have them sign a lease. There's no lease language in there. It's not called a lease. It's not even called rent. They're not even called tenants. They're called guests or invitees. So it's all in the language. We had an attorney draft the document specific based on the laws of Texas that give us the ability to remove them based on trespassing because their short-term stay has expired. Okay. It's not a lease. It's not rent.
It's a short-term stay.
Thank you. Yes, and they are signing a short-term stay guest accommodations agreement. That's the title of it. So just title it that. That's what they're signing. We captured their government issue photo ID, so we have that on file. We captured their credit card information, so we capture a deposit. And it's not always a small one, especially if it's an extended stay, right? So they're not seeing any of that back if they give us a problem, on exit, we have to get a 30-day move out notice for those extended ones. His minimum is 14 days, right? So there's a lot of different checks and balances that we have in place to mitigate that, and it's very effective. And so we've had someone attempt to do that. We were able to push back and force a trespassing. Police came out. We showed them the documentation. You got to go. Okay, so that's how we're set up. But know the laws for your state starts with that.
Real quick. Okay, jump in, TJ, because I got a question.
I was gonna say
on that
because he hit the nail on the two things that we do in our business, and I completely forgot to even mention it. I finished my train of thought without even getting to it, but that's one of the two things we do, and that's one of the things I post on social media. And when super viral was like, look, we don't do leases that are long term. We do leases that are 28 days. So they want to stay for 3 months. They're not getting us, they're not getting a 90-day lease. They're getting a 28-day agreement, short-term stay agreement. The word lease is not even on there. It's not even on. So it's an agreement that they get. Also, another thing that we do, our short-term agreement states that you are agreeing to lease this property from the management company. And the management company is the person that's on the short-term stay agreement. And guess what? The management company doesn't own the property. So essentially you're subleasing. You're not even a real tenant. The management company is the actual tenant. So I have a lease agreement, an official long-term lease between my management company and my property entity that is on its own entity. And then that short-term agreement is between the guest and the management company. So you add that extra layer. So they're not even on a lease. There's no lease that they're even on. So that's the two things we do. Yeah. And then the short-term agreement it's on 28-day rollers, 28 days or less. It rolls in 28 days, just like Noble said.
So after 28 days, you sign a new agreement?
Sign a new agreement. And we'll do it like 10 days before the next month.
It'll auto-renew.
So we got a video here.
Also auto-renew too. Yeah.
This is a real struggle in the real estate industry, man.
An unethical real estate life hack. Squat. Nah, not that kind of squat. But you can squat in a house for 20 years and legally that is your property. Yeah, it's your property. So if you're tired of paying your rent, ain't trying to pay for a mortgage. Tired of your dirty roommate. All you gotta do is squat for 20 years. They can't change the locks on you legally. They can't kick you out legally. The cops can't charge you for trespassing legally. They have to evict you through the courts. Now, I don't recommend this because it's kind of stupid, but this is a.
Bro, hey, send me that video. I got to do a reaction video to that. I need that video. I'm doing a reaction video to that today, bro. I'm pissed watching it.
That's a real issue.
That's
That's
wild, bro. I thought he was about to add some sauce to the game of what we're talking about.
Hey, TJ, he finna go book at your Airbnb tomorrow.
He the ops. Now that boy about to pull up, man. You better get out of here with that, man. That's wild work.
We gotta protect ourselves from the people, man.
Squatters' rules are trash in Texas.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
And I bet you they're probably trash in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Why are these squatter rights so powerful? Literally, listen, I had a squatter. I had a squatter in one of my properties.
That was recently. Bro, we probably spent, like, first of all, we had to remove all of the trash that they bought. That was probably about $3,000. Right? Then we had to go through multiple cops being called out, right? And obviously you couldn't say that they're squatting. You couldn't say that it was a lease. You can't say any of these buzzwords that will automatically make the police turn around. They picked the guy up, right? Put him in the back of the car just to take him around the corner to drop him off. And he just came right on back. Come on, bro.
Wait a minute.
Bro, like they pick him up, put him in the back of the car, right? And take him around the corner, drop him off.
Man, you got to play the videos you got.
Wait. He's been evicted. Judge signed with you.
He threatened my life. So he threatened my life. And so, you know, because he was hurling out all these threats, you know, and so we just told him, and I told the cops, you know, and this is I'm giving you guys the
How
reality
you get the
version.
cops over
Please
there?
do not do any of the things that I'm getting ready to tell you that I did. I'm just telling you what works here in my state. Okay. And unfortunately. So in order to even get a reaction out of the cops, you had to talk, you had to tell them, look, I have my firearm with me. I'm ready to defend myself. If anything goes crazy, blah, blah, blah. You have to tell them for the cops to even show up. They're not even showing up unless it's some kind of threat to violence or some kind of, they're not showing up to your property, period. Like, and if they do, it's going to be hours and hours later. By the time they come, you're going to be then forgot about what they was even called for to begin with. Don't take any of my advice. I'm just telling you what it was. The guy was getting crazy. He was, you know, not wanting to listen to what we had to say. And it was just becoming a confrontational environment. The cops get there, right, for the threat. They pick him up. They take him around the corner. They bring him and they drop him off. And they, you know, by the time they come back, they told us that they couldn't press charges on him because the DA didn't want to press charges. They just felt like it was too small of a deal. I don't know, whatever. They're not trying to prosecute these people. They're trying to prosecute me and you. They're trying to prosecute people they can actually get money from the system on. Like, because they know we going to buy a lawyer. They know me. I'm going to get me a lawyer. I'm going to feed the judges. Everybody going to get a piece of the money when I go to jail. But people who squat, people who are homeless, people who do stuff like that, they're not going to get a dime. Matter of fact, the homeless is going to win because they're going to go get them some free meals, right? And they're not going to get an attorney. They're going to have to get a court-appointed attorney if they even get that, right? So what I'm realizing is that it seems like the system is just based on money. So how do you even get rid of squatters if it's no incentive for the city to even prosecute these people? And like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, bro. It's unfortunate. You know, and it's crazy because, you know, you would think in Texas, out of all places, trust me, if it's this bad in Texas, I guarantee it's trash everywhere. I guarantee it's bad everywhere. I don't think it's easy in any state. I think it's just as hard as it is here in any state, no matter what, whether it's a red or blue state. So, I think I'm just wondering because there's something about the legality of intentionally putting people out, even though they were already out in the first place, and they were already homeless. They just come into it's something about it that this country just like, nah, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what it is and why it's so difficult for people that just trespasses. I mean, you hear stories of squatters living in this people's house. They're doing everything they can to get them out. By law, they cannot get them out. Years and years. Cannot get these people out. What the heck is the point owning that property? You know what I mean? So I couldn't tell you. All we can do is try to protect ourselves. All we can do is know exactly what the laws are within your state, what constitutes a squatter to have rights, to have tenancy, and you prevent. To me, the best way to avoid squatters is prevention of getting them in there in the first place, and prevention of getting them even having the time to claim to get those rights. So, man, it's a tough situation, but man, as investors, there's something else that we
It's a
definitely
real
got to worry
problem,
about.
though. You know,
It's a real
somebody we
problem.
all know, Derek, he had a problem with a few squatters on a flip. Just finished a house, ready listed, tenant break in. It's his house now.
Crazy.
And it took
Can
him
you
a
imagine
minute
that?
to get it out.
Can you
Yeah, you
imagine
just finished
doing
flipping a
flip?
house. Now he got to redo it. Bruh, that's horrible. And
That's horrible.
he called
Bro.
the cops multiple times, bro.
That's horrible, man.
The guy was just chilling there. He walked in the house, there had dog shit on the floor.
Bro, this dude
After
just
you
shot a
finish the
whole
rehab.
bro.
Yeah, bro.
You know, social media is for two ways you can really add value on social media. By adding educational value, like teaching people something. It could be anything. You don't have to be about business. It could be anything, or making people laugh. Right? Those are two main ways to get clicks for you to actually get attention on social media. This guy literally just posted value add style content, teaching people how to squat. This is a massive issue. This is a bigger issue than we think. When it's gotten this far, it's gotten like this. Oh, this is a bigger issue. It's a massive issue.
That's horrible,
I
bro.
think I think there's a little bit of a difference in somebody gaining access to a property outside of a booking, outside of a reservation, and attempting to squat than if you're a host and you're vetting people on the front end and you're vetting them properly, right? And you have a client avatar that fits your extended stay business model, right? And so I think you're less likely to see it. Not to say that it can't happen or won't happen, but you're less likely to see it with a longer staying guest type that you vetted. And in some instances, we have a clause in our agreement that we can do a background and credit check on you if we find it necessary. So we won't just let anybody up in our place. And if it's sitting vacant, then the alarm is on, the front and rear cameras are on. If somebody's going to break in and try to squat, then that's going to trigger a whole other series of events where then it becomes, it becomes a criminal act. And so I think it is to some degree, it depends on how these guests are getting access to the property, under what terms, and how you're vetting them on the front end to kind of mitigate some of that.
Yeah, big difference between a guest squatting and a random squatting.
I got one more video, man, because I know there's some real stuff. I know y'all don't like to see that. This messed up, bro. Let me get it. Hold on.
Where y'all finding these? Yeah, we got some action in the chat box. Hold on, we got some people in there.
Oh, you on mute.
So this is a tenant that went to a house, Airbnb.
Did you add? Okay.
Didn't pay for 17 months. Let's check this out. That's a long time.
Business killer, boy.
See, that's how people want to kill people, break in a house, do some damaging things. But let's check it out real quick.
Rented out a guest home in one of LA's poshest neighborhoods, but refuses to leave. New at 5 o'clock, Eyewitness News reporter Christian Cordero explains why the homeowner cannot force her to leave.
In Brentwood's hillside sits a community eye level with the Getty Center, whose neighbors include LeBron James and Fergie. But the resident everyone seems to be talking about today lives here for free.
My husband yesterday was outside and some guy comes by and goes, you're living next door to a squatter?
A periodontist named Alexander, or Sasha Jovanovic, bought this house in 1995. Through the years, he's remodeled it, and in 2019 decided to rent the guest house out on Airbnb. That's how his and Elizabeth Hirshhorn's paths crossed. She was looking for a place to stay for 6 months, reached out, and ended up here. That was 2 years ago. Repairs the guest house needed 4 months in caused the initial animosity, which led Jovanovic to extend the tenant's stay beyond her Airbnb reservation. Because they made an unofficial agreement, Airbnb is no longer getting involved, and the guest house itself doesn't have the right permit. So Jovanovic needs to find a legal reason to evict her.
It's a pretty nice place she's squatting in. It looks like a glass room and very nice.
Which he has yet to do successfully. Hirshhorn stopped paying in April 2022, according to court documents.
I think it's going to get more unpleasant for her now because, I think the whole neighborhood heard about it.
We spoke with Jovanovic moments ago.
I had no idea that the shower was not permitted. I didn't even know that the guest house was not permitted. There was just like a total oversight.
Hirshhorn's attorney told LA Times Jovanovic has harassed her. She's suing for intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other things. Jovanovic just wants her gone, and the nearly $60,000 in owed rent paid, all of which is now for a judge to decide.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe.
Wait a minute. So this tenant is suing the owner.
Yeah, the tenant's back suing that. So I heard about this one.
Has harassed her.
Yeah, I
She's
did.
Suing for intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other things. Jovanovic wants her gone, and the nearly $60,000 in owed rent paid.
Yeah, this case has actually been talked about in the industry quite a bit. So she's suing him now. I don't know an update. This update where she was suing him was actually about, I don't know, maybe about 5 months old now. So there's probably, I don't know what
this is ongoing.
What's further? Yeah, this is ongoing still. And it's unfortunate for the homeowner because because his it's unfortunate for them because he has issues with the property that would
With the
consider the
city.
property with the city, right? So yes, issues with the property that would consider it like unlivable because it's not permitted, it's livable, it's just not permitted with the city, and so now that is now in the way of him properly evicting this person,
And
but
she's
he
looking
can't.
to sue him for that.
Right, but she's looking to sue him because he's been trying to get her out. You know,
Yeah.
police, lawsuits,
Emotional
going to
damages.
court. So she's saying that, look, these 2 years of you trying to get me out has caused me harm emotionally. And now she's suing him back. That's how she's suing.
And
You
she
know,
gonna
It's a
probably
messed up
win.
situation.
somebody was putting something in the chat, and and I thought about it, and I want to go back to Noble and see if he had something like that in his agreements to where, okay, so it says the goons would have had to be roommates, basically. Lady put it up. And then Bam Bam put it here. He put, I'm moving in with them and bringing my crazy auntie, and we all squat down. Like, how that's gonna work?
Real talk, man. Real talk. Like, we're just all going to be in here.
How does
We're just all
that
be in
work
here.
from a short-term rental stay? We're not going to talk lease. And here's another thing. I want to point this out too. If you're dealing with a squatter situation, the last words you want to use when you're talking to cops is squatter and lease,
Yeah.
renter, anything like that. You don't want to use those words. But what would you say to, is it anything in your agreements, Noble, that allows you to move somebody else in? How does that work?
Yeah, I don't think we have anything that specific that says we can move someone else in. Our agreements are very specific to the extent that there is no tenancy whatsoever, right? And so and then we kind of break down our access to the property, so we can access the property at will for any number of different reasons. And we fortunately we haven't been in a situation where we've had to take it that far. But I think at the end of the day, like there are exceptions and there are unicorn situations. That video is one of them. That's not the commonality.
Yeah, it's not a normal. Yeah,
but
it's not.
You have to be prepared for anything, quite frankly. So we just haven't had that situation come up yet.
But that's a business.
That's a scary situation, bro.
That could kill somebody's entire business, like literally.
Yeah.
Just that one property.
I mean, honestly, y'all could probably use a regular lease agreement. Just understand the law, and just if you use a regular lease agreement, just don't lease past the tenancy days. 28 days or less. And by the way, some states are 14 days or less for tenancy. Some states are 14. Cincinnati comes to mind. I can't think of any other states, but there's a few states that tenancy happens after just 14 days. They can squat. They can claim tenants right. So check your laws, and just don't
Where can
just
they
have
find
a
that
rolling.
in your city?
You could probably Google that information. I mean, you could probably Google what the tenancy. Just look up tenancy right in your state. You know what I'm saying? What happens if she leaves to buy food? You can lock her. No, not legally. You can't legally lock people out. You can't legally turn off the utilities and things like that. Something that, of course, I mentioned earlier that Sean did was he went and pulled out his furniture, and he said that he was told that wasn't illegal because it's his property.
Pulled out what?
Right. He went in there for his short-term rental. When the squatter started squatting, he just went and started moving out all the furniture. Right, and he said his attorney told him that it's not illegal because that's his property, his possession, that's in the property. So, and the squatter left after that. So, for me, I probably would just set off the loud alarm inside and just let it keep going on. Which I've done that before, not for a squatter, just because a guest was taking too long to leave. They didn't want to leave. Like check out to 11, they're still there. Like 2:30, we had a guest coming in at 4, so we turned on the alarm and just let it keep going off until they left, and they literally got out there in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, we've done that too.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's man. Yeah, this squatter
Y'all
situation.
think that's like the biggest risk when it comes to short-term rentals and Airbnb and all that? Something like that?
No, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the biggest risk. I think the biggest risk in doing this business is just not doing your research up front, buying your property for too much, not buying it right. Because honestly, I don't care if you're making an Airbnb or not. You're making money when you buy in real estate. So to me, that was the biggest things. If you can protect, I mean, if you structure your lease properly for people that want to book more than 28 days, you should be all right. You should be. Now, it's not perfect. There's no squatter issue to me. There's a very, very, very effective ones. But man, when it comes to court and the law, there's always ways that people can probably try to finesse and finagle things. So nothing's perfect, but you can prevent things.
I want to pivot real quick because this is incredible. This is some incredible news. I was actually listening in on somebody speak about the stock prices skyrocketing. I mean, Airbnb is probably one of the most profitable companies on the market right now. I mean, they literally are killing it. And it's funny because last year around this same time, we were talking about the demise of Airbnb. We were, in our mind, we thought Airbnb was pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at this same time, 2023, they had some of the one of the most profitable years. And so if we look at this right here, it says Airbnb record profit 1 million new listings added, right? 1 million new listings added. Let's look at this right here. Look at this right here. Airbnb's recent quarter was not its most profitable ever. Airbnb's recent quarter was its most profitable ever. Okay. And also the best in terms of revenue, according to the shareholders letter the company released on Wednesday. Airbnb reported a net income. Listen to this. Now, I want y'all to fully understand what I'm talking about here. So this is net, meaning this is going into the pocket. Net income of $1.6 billion, excluding a one-time income tax benefit and revenue growth of 18% to $3.4 billion. What?
Not too many companies doing that, bro.
Huh?
Ain't too many companies doing that.
Ain't too many companies profiting $1.6 billion with 18% growth. Look at this. Airbnb expects to generate $2.13 billion and $2.17 billion in revenue in the fourth quarter, which will be an increase between 12 and 14%.
Wow.
Yet, here's the thing, though. There's still a lot of operators that are suffering. You have listings that are not getting bookings at all, but the company itself is extremely profitable. How do we explain this? Is this the time for people to enter the market, or are you kind of sitting on the sideline clapping quietly, like waiting for people to exit? I mean, just keeping it real as an investor, because it has blown up. It was a lot of coaches, a lot of people promoting this stuff. And I think a lot of if I'm gonna be real, I think the influencer market probably ruined it from a profit standpoint. Let's talk about this. Let's keep it real. Can we have a moment of clarity?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. We alluded to this earlier too. When you see that revenue is doing this, Airbnb is doing this well, but you also see listings struggle. That means that there's a group of listings that are getting most of the profits, and while there's some that are struggling. So, and what does that mean? That means that it's not an issue of Airbnb slowing down in terms of opportunity, right? It's an issue of the supply and demand, and it's also an issue of what's actually getting people booked right now? What's actually working right now? And most people are doing what's actually working. Because why? Because what's working is harder work to do. It's harder to set up. It takes more work to do. If you want to get into the midterm rental space, understand that you're not just going to put up your property on Airbnb and just set it for a 30-day minimum and you just think you're just going to be filling your calendar for 30 days at a time. That's not what's going to happen. You're going to have to do some cold calling. You're going to have to do some B2B businesses, some B2C businesses, follow up to get businesses with these entities. So that it's all a combination of that, and that's what we're seeing right now. While we're seeing Airbnb do this so well, and hosts still struggle.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. I think when a lot of people look at these numbers, they're not thinking about the global impact, and so I was reading this article, but the article does also go on to say that a lot of the growth has been in the Asia Pacific region, has been increased activity in Germany and Brazil, and so you gotta don't look at something like this with just a lens around the U.S. right, and think, well, where's my piece of that pie? Because all of this money is being made. This is money that's being made globally in different countries around the world. And so I would keep that in consideration when you're looking at some of these stats and these numbers and stuff. And the U.S. has always been a strong market, obviously, for Airbnb. But at the end of the day, like TJ said, it's a numbers game. The cream rises to the top, and that's just what it is.
Like that. So I want to ask you guys, both of y'all, what's your biggest win in the short-term rental space? We talked negative for a minute. Let's turn it positive a little bit. What's your biggest win when it comes to purchase price, units,
number
of profit you made, equity? We need all that, man. Let's talk a little positive, bring some positive light to this, because we ain't got too many folks right here, man. We got some big dogs.
Well, I got 2 boutique hotels right now. I'm currently working on a 3rd project. I think the 3rd one will be
What's
my biggest
boutique?
one.
We may not know what the boutique hotel is. What is that?
Oh, well, boutique hotel is okay. So
keys, my bad. Y'all call them keys.
Yeah, keys. You know what I'm saying, in the boutique space. One's 13 keys, the other one's 20 keys, right? And so, but then we have our other duplexes and our single families and stuff. Then we still have about, I'll probably say maybe 10% of our portfolio we still arbitrage as well, about 10% of our portfolio. So maybe it's a little bit more than that. But I'll probably say my biggest one is still my very first boutique hotel. Still the first one. Just the numbers are nuts. We have a property with paying 4% interest on a asset that we bought for $630 that was worth $1 million as is, and now we have about $2 million in equity on this thing, and our mortgage is about $6,000 a month, but it brings in anywhere between 20 to 30. So to me, that's
every month.
Just numbers. Yeah, just numbers wise, it's just a solid deal.
And you worked on that property for what? To get it. You following up with the girl for like a year or something?
Yeah. So it was a probate deal. So so it was a probate deal that we stayed following up on. One of the things that I always remember is how you get the best deals the closer you are to the source. And so when we were dealing directly with this probate attorney before it even came out of probate, we had our offer already sent in. And so when it came out of probate, when everybody was able to see it now, we were already on the contract. So we were in direct contact with the probate attorney once things moved and there was an agreement between both parties. They called me right away, said, hey, they agreed to sell it. Let's move forward. And before it even came out of probate. So that's, to me, the closer you are to the source, the better for these deals. That's why wholesalers will always have better deals than you, right? Because they're so close to the source. That's why they can wholesale you the deal and still have some meat on the bone. So, but yeah.
That's a hell of a deal, bro. So y'all profiting. Let me see, on a great month.
On a good month, on a good month, we're netting over 20,000.
Wow, net
on one property.
Deal.
That's crazy. Yeah, on one deal, that's wild.
Hey,
net.
That's a bag, bro. That's
And
one
that's
property. So, go
and
ahead.
and only some of them are like midterm, like right. Most of them are like
It's a
weekly,
mix.
but a lot of it's a mix. It's a mix. I ain't killing the midterm like Noble is. Noble's still supposed to get my midterm contract on. I'm waiting on my midterm contract from Noble, my guy. Man. But yeah.
So talk to us about, because I know you had some struggles, quite a few struggles with that deal too. So talk about the real struggles that you had with it.
I mean, we were. I mean, that construction was done over a year ago, but man, I mean, from theft to asbestos, our budget initially was right under 700,000. So for the rehab, we ended up spending about 920, almost $1 million for the rehab.
Whoa!
Spent 920.
That's
spent 920 on that remodel.
$1,000 more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We spent 920. Now here's what's good. We because the deal was so good, we inflated the heck out of that rehab budget. You know what I'm saying? We still had to. We still hurt. It still stung us a little bit because I don't know. I'll probably say maybe it probably cost us maybe an extra 20 grand out of pocket, right? But we inflated the heck out of that thing, and so. Well, you're supposed to, man. And that's why I say, like, it's really, really hard to mess up a good real estate deal. That's why I say that. If it's a good deal, it's hard to mess it up. It's hard to. You have to really intentionally mess it up if it's a good deal. So yeah. We inflated it. We were good. But it's worth it.
Had
I mean, what we did was it was worth it. Yeah, we inflated the heck out of it. And then we're not even worried. I mean, then you look at the loop. I mean, shoot, if I tell you we're able to we cost segregate this thing, like what we're able to bonus appreciate from this building, bro, on this one, bro, it's not even then a bonus appreciation, then a cash flow, then the equity is just a sweet deal, bro. Sweet deal all around.
But that was a life-changing deal, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll say so.
And that,
because it helped. Yeah.
And that introduced you to boutique hotels?
Yeah, that was my first one. That was like, all right, I need more of these.
You talking about the one on Emancipation?
Yes, that one. That was the first one.
That's a beautiful deal.
Yeah, that's a
that was the
deal.
first one. But y'all got to come back. Y'all got to come back and check it out. It's freaking nice now. Y'all come in there.
Yeah, it's different.
Show us some pictures. You can pull up the list.
I mean, shoot. I'll pull some up. Man. Can I share a screen on this one?
Absolutely.
I can share a screen on this one.
Yeah. I want to ask Noble. You know, what are you most? I know you are killing it from a profit standpoint. I mean, the profit on Noble's deals are just dumb. So can you give us like a little bit of insight on what are you most excited about right now from a profit standpoint?
Yeah, absolutely. So what has me most excited currently is we're doubling down on this airline industry play that has a massive amount of not only profit but a growth potential of a severely underserved market. For people that understand aviation. So with this particular strategy, we're housing pilots and flight attendants that are stationed in a base city that's not their city of residence. And and so they, when they're flying out of their base city, running their normal active routes and things, they're staying in hotels, traditional layovers for their overnight stays. But when they're off the clock and they're not working, but they need to be ready and available to go, they have to have a place to stay, and that's not typically in their city of residence where they're stationed. And so we're providing that housing for that time period. And so those are like 30-day stays. What we love about this, and I was talking about vetting earlier, was these individuals, these flight attendants and pilots, they are vetted at the highest level, right? So when you're getting on board with an airline, you have to go through some very stringent background checks, including the FBI background check. They check you against the terrorist watch list. Like it's next level vetting. And so these employees have already been vetted. Plus, they don't have a reason to be there's no squatter situation type thing going on, right? And so in this strategy, we're renting by the bed per month. Right. And upwards of four beds in a room. And so it's so the profit margin can be pretty stupid. So we're actually doubling down on that.
How much per bed
So
per
in the
month?
market,
You ain't said that part.
yeah, so it varies by market. So I'm in Dallas Fort Worth market. So we're servicing the smaller of the two airports right now, which is Love Field. But we're charging $500 per bed per month, right? And then we got two properties doing that. One of the first one we got was a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, right? And so it sleeps 16. Yeah. So and at $500 a bed per month, so that's $8K, right? And then with mortgage and expenses stuff, just a couple of $1,000s a month. Like it's ridiculous, right? And so so now we're developing a game plan. I've actually partnered now. I can say this now publicly, but I've partnered now with a couple of other individuals. One of them is a VP, an executive VP with a major airline. We have now brought her on board, and we're developing a strategy to launch this in some major cities around the country. I'm super excited. Yes.
So your bag finna go crazy.
Most def. Yes.
You making $8K off a single family. $8K a month?
Yeah. Yes.
That's net or is that gross?
No, that's gross. That's gross. So it nets to a little under 5. Yeah. Look, now because what we're doing is we're handling. So we got the mortgage, we got all the utilities, expenses, stuff like that. We still pay to have a cleaner go in once a month, do all of that good stuff. But we're also taking that and we're doing additional improvements and additional amenities. And so we're rolling some of that back into the property. So had we not been doing that, we'd probably been closer to 6. But yeah, but it's still hefty in comparison specifically to a traditional rental, right?
So $5 a month profit. Wow.
Yeah.
That's healthy. Yeah. That's paying healthy.
Shout out to Dunn in the building, because when I hear about profits on a cash flow basis that high, right? Listen,
boy, you could probably pay that mortgage off tomorrow.
I think about, okay, are we paying off that mortgage more cheaply? I naturally think about this, right? Because when you're profiting at that level, like you're making so I know TJ is in a position where he's making about 20K. He's saying net on his boutique hotel. Noble is netting somewhere around $5 to $6 grand per month, give or take, net, right?
Family.
On a single family. Those are massive profits. Matter of fact, you will never see profits like that on a traditional rental. Like this will never happen. See, Don, what would you say to TJ and Noble from a interest buy down perspective?
Listen, I didn't come in here for that. I came in here as a fan. Okay. Every time I think you all have hit the next level, every time I think that you are the most relevant, every time I think you've done the best show ever, then you come back with something else like this. Lord have mercy. Not only was it educational, it was totally entertaining. Okay. All right, but anyway, so I will say this. Most people have no idea how much interest they're paying, how much it costs to manage their debt. Not only that, but they don't know that they are in complete control of how much money they pay to manage that debt. And if they knew that if I invested as little as $200 prepaid could save me $800 to $1,000 in interest, now we're talking about what can I do with small amounts of money to get huge returns. I'm talking 500, 600, 700% return when you take a look at how can I save money in interest with a small amount of money. So we're not talking taking profits out and saying, oh, I'm going to take my money that I could open, that I could buy more doors with. I'm saying we have dormant money sitting in the bank making 1/10 of 1%, just waiting for something to go wrong. So while it's waiting, I can take a piece of that, $200, $300, even $1,000, and save $5,000 in interest. Oh my gosh. So when most people think about what you do to pay off a loan, stop thinking about paying off the loan. Start thinking about the bank is charging me 75% more interest than I need to pay. I don't care what the interest rate is. I don't care what the interest rate is. We're paying more interest than we need to pay. And we need, along with everything else, with all the other metrics we have learned about, the metrics we have memorized, we need to add one more metric. And this is it. Control interest costs, and you will increase profits exponentially. Not just the interest saved, but think about this. What about the interest paid that you can no longer invest? How about that one? I'm done.
I love that, Don. I love that so much. I love that.
Real right there.
I'm big on creative financing. I try to keep the banks out of all of our deals, right? So I think people, when they hear what Don is saying, talk about this interest, because when you think about a deal, the banks are the real winners. The banks are the real winners with any deal. Yes, we leverage their money and we win, but the banks are the real winners because the interest that we pay, we can literally overpay for a property and still make out better than if we paid asking price with interest I love, this is my favorite example is if I was to take a $500,000 house, and I paid a modest 6.2% interest, which I think people are getting quoted a little bit more now than that, but let's just say 6.2% interest on a $500,000 home. That home is going to cost right around $2,936 a month in a mortgage, right under $3,000 a month in mortgage. In 30 years, you would have paid about $1.4 million on that house. In 30 years, you bought it for $500, but you've paid almost $1.4 in 30 years.
Wow.
Did you know that if I went to that seller, the same seller that's selling that $500,000 house, I said, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll give you $600,000 for your house, a whole $100K more than you're asking, but let me give you $2,500 a month, principal only payments, no interest. Principal only payments. Do you know what happens to this deal? This deal gets paid off 10 years earlier. Listen to me. You paid $100K more. This deal gets paid off in 20 years instead of 30. In 20 years, you've only paid $600. So you didn't pay $1.4 million. You've only paid $600. The seller wins because they got a whole $100K more than asking. You win because you're not paying all that interest. And you're saving $500 a month in payments. You're saving $500 a month in payments. The house gets paid off 10 years sooner. And you overpaid the seller by a whole $100,000. And you save on all that interest that you have to pay. This is why I said the banks are the real winners.
You know what's so dope about that? What's so dope about that? I've told that before, and I tell people about how I don't mind overpaying for a property depending on how the deal is structured.
Depending on the terms.
People freak out because they don't understand the long-term ramifications of what it costs for money.
Yes.
Money is a very expensive product. Yeah, talk about it, TJ.
Exactly. But people don't understand that our mindsets, the way we're trained about how we buy real estate is based off of our school system and our upbringing. Because we are taught that in order for you to buy real estate, you need a mortgage. In order for you to own a house, you need a mortgage. That's just what we're taught, when nothing could be further from the truth. We don't need a mortgage.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you do have a mortgage, here's what you can do. All right. Because, I would love to be able to pay no interest. All right. So here's what we're talking about. What if I could borrow the money from the bank and then have what's called, an effective interest rate? I know going in how much interest I'm going to pay them. I'm not going to pay them what they want. I know because we've done the math. based on how much I know I'm going to pay you, then I can do a new calculation, which is the effective interest rate. So by looking at the amount of interest that I will pay on this, my effective interest rate is less than 1%. So if I can get that money at less than 1%, now it will pay me to borrow the money and use my other money to invest. You see? So what we're trying to do is figure out, when you're leveraging, you want to make sure that you're maximizing the leverage. How do I pay the least to get the most when I understand how to read an amortization schedule? Because we have not been taught to read one. I love that deal that you just talked about, and understanding both sides of the deal. Yeah. What we need to understand is not interest rate, but interest cost, and then how to minimize it. Because I heard somebody say just a little while ago, you make money in real estate when you buy. Did I hear that?
Okay. Yeah, that was me. That was you.
Okay. So now we're going to talk. Now we're going to look at. Well, this is what it would normally cost to borrow this money, but here's how much it's going to cost me to borrow this money. So I get the asset. At 75 or 80% off. If I know that going in, that's a game changer.
I love it. Listen. I want to check out. We got brother E.T. Williams. You know what I mean? The motivational king when it comes to speaking. I want to hear what he has to say about this, and then after that, we're gonna come back and look at TJ's brand new boutique hotel. We're gonna look at what it looks like for you to be at the top of the market. TJ is gonna show us exactly what his listing looks like. And so what you can do is use this as a benchmark for yours. But before we do that, we're going to talk with our sponsor and let Mr. E.T. come and share with us what it looks like